Hey everyone, welcome to the Royce Reports. I'm your host Royce, and on this channel I talk a lot of things Xbox, but I do dabble in other gaming related topics and I do some reviews. So if you're interested in any of that, then be sure to hit the subscribe button and check out my other content if you're interested. And today we're going to be talking about something that I know everybody wants to hear and everyone's talking about. And it seems that every time I say that I'm tired of talking about it, some more news comes out about it, which is the Activision Blizzard deal. And it just got a huge step forward in the process by having Brazil, one of the big countries that is involved with the regulating process, approved the deal. And so let's get into it. After months and months of deliberation to determine whether or not this deal is sufficient in that it is consumer friendly and is not a anti-competitive or a monopoly, Brazil has stated that they don't think that this is there's anything wrong with this deal and that they approved it with no concessions and no restrictions, which is what I feel like a lot of people don't really get, is that Brazil is a big important step in this process. And the reason why is because people can just assume that, okay, Brazil is a small country, so they don't really need to pay too much attention to it.
This is Brazil.
But Brazil is very spot on when it comes down to these sort of things, and they're very, very strict, and they go through a lot of scrutiny and a lot of the details as they come through this deal. And what they normally come out with kind of is on par with most other countries. So I don't think that Brazil should be looked at in a small light. It should be known that they are very, very detailed when it comes down to these terms and their conditions. For example, when Disney was trying to acquire Fox, one of the concessions that Brazil decided to make was that in order for them to approve this deal, that Fox Sports was not allowed to be acquired by Disney because Disney owns ESPN, and that would be a conflict of interest and would actually gain a sort of almost a monopoly for Disney. So at the end of all of that, a lot of the other concerns from the other regulators were the same. And so in order for Disney to acquire Fox, they had to sell Fox Sports or have Fox Sports be considered its own entity, and Disney was not allowed to purchase them. And so they know what they're talking about. This is a country that has dealt with these things, and they are very detailed. And if you want to look at the file, they have it for you listed on the internet for you to go and look. I will post that in my description if you want to take a look at it. It is very long and it is very, very detailed. There are some very interesting things in this file that they have. So I highly recommend looking at it because you get to see a lot of the behind the scenes things that you didn't really know about, and a lot of the kind of conversations behind the doors between all these big companies on what this deal means to the industry and all these other people. So I'm gonna go over a couple of the bigger things that they talked about. So let's get into some of the stuff they mentioned. So something that Brazil is trying to get into this huge public filing that they released, which is how Sony has dominated the gaming industry for the past 20 years. And this is what they had to say in that filing. As already seen, Nintendo does not currently rely on any content from Activision Blizzard to compete in the market, Cade explains. In turn, Sony has several attributes: strength of the world's leading brand for more than 20 years, extensive experience in the sector, largest user base, largest install base of consoles, robust catalog of exclusive games, partnerships with multiple publishers, third-party brand loyal consumers, etc., which should contribute to maintaining the competitiveness of PlayStation in a possible post-operation scenario, even in the face of possible loss of access to Activision Blizzard content. So something that Brazil pointed out, which is, hey, Nintendo has been operating just fine and is actually on on set to become one of the best-selling consoles of all time, if not the best-selling console of all time, and they don't have Call of Duty on their platform. So pretty much saying, I don't think you need Call of Duty to be successful. Another thing that they wanted to pretty much bring to light was how successful PlayStation has been the past 20 years, which obviously they have been extremely successful, with their only miss really being the PlayStation 3, where you had the PlayStation 1 selling over 100 million units, the PlayStation 2 being the best-selling console of all time with 155 million units sold, the PlayStation 3 during the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3 generation being neck and neck, and with around 88 million units sold for both of those consoles, where the PlayStation 3 ended up edging out during that generation, and the PlayStation 4, which has sold to date 114 million units. So the only PlayStation to not sell over 100 million units was the PlayStation 3, and that was a kind of a rocky start for them. But the PlayStation 5 is obviously doing extremely well, and it's hard to get your hands on one even to this day. So this console generation is probably going to have the PlayStation 5 also probably outwin the Xbox again. So no shock there. That is not very surprising. But this is something that they're trying to paint the picture of is, hey, you are the market leader. You have been dominating this market for 20 years. And what has been the reason to that success? Exclusive content. But regardless of that, they even stated that because of the fact that they have dominated for 20 years with the help of the exclusive content, with those exclusive third-party deals, and the fact that they have all this brand loyalty, even if Microsoft decided to choose to remove Call of Duty from the PlayStation console, that they still think that the PlayStation console will still be okay and will still succeed. And they also bring into light that there's other things that would happen if this did go through, which is, hey, you remove Call of Duty from the PlayStation platform, and yeah, you might get some people to go and carry over to the Xbox and jump ship, but all you're actually going to end up doing for the people that aren't doing that, who aren't going to swap consoles to go put on Xbox for Call of Duty, they're just going to look for something else on that console, which is going to be Battlefield, Apex, Rainbow Six, and those games would cause a surge. And so that would end up losing Call of Duty as this huge monstrous beast that it's known as today to potentially someone else like Battlefield or Rainbow Six. So financially, this does not make sense for Xbox to go and do something like that because of that potential for that to happen. Also, the fact that you don't know if anyone's actually going to jump ship, and you're kind of just shooting yourself in the foot because of the fact that there's a huge player base on Sony's console that you just don't want to get rid of that. And so Brazil did touch on that in its filing. So this is all in the filings. You can look at it yourself. It is in there. It is a long file, but it's all in there. This is all discussions that Brazil has brought to light, and that they think that even if they do remove it from PlayStation, that Sony would be just fine. And but they don't think that Microsoft would do that because of the fact that, well, they stated that they wouldn't, and they signed that deal, and as well as they went and looked at it in a business standpoint, and it just does not make any business sense. They ended up ending the filing with this last thing. Furthermore, it is important to highlight that the central objective of CADE's activities is the protection of competition as a means of promoting the well-being of Brazilian consumers, and not the defense of the particular interests of specific competitors. After all, one cannot lose sight of the fact that the holder of the legal protected by law number such and such is the collectivity and not the competitor/economic agent as an individual entity. In this sense, although it is recognized that the part of the users of PlayStation consoles from Sony could decide to migrate to Xbox in the event that Activision Blizzard games, and especially Call of Duty, become exclusive to the Microsoft ecosystem, SG/CADE does not believe that such a possibility represents in itself a risk of competition in the console market as a whole. They pretty much just said, hey, Sony, we saw what you're doing with these statements and you trying to go and say that this is going to be bad for consumers, that this is going to be bad for you guys and all this other stuff. And Brazil's pretty much calling them out and saying like, look, our interests are not in whether or not this hurts you guys. This is something that we're looking into, and we're making sure that this doesn't hurt the consumers. And the fact that you're going to be bringing Call of Duty over to Game Pass for your monthly fee of Game Pass, how is that going to hurt the consumer? In fact, that is going to be beneficial to the consumer. And because of your market lead, and all because of the fact that, hey, Xbox is doing this should instill some competition in PlayStation, in the Sony, to also do something similar. And they have been doing that. They definitely made strides to make a competitor for Game Pass with PlayStation Plus. And I know that Sony has come out and said this is not a competitor to Game Pass, but it is 100% a competitor to Game Pass. It is without a doubt a competitor, regardless if they see it or not. It is. So it's just interesting that Brazil does call out Sony, with Sony crying wolf. It's also very interesting to know that this also comes after the news of Jim Ryan flying over to Brussels to meet with the regulators to try to discuss his concerns with the Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard. So this is very interesting because if you go and read this, it does seem like they did a very in-depth review of this deal, and it seems like someone had to type all this stuff up, and I can't imagine how long that took to type up, because it is long. But with all that said, this is just one of the dominoes that's falling to allow this deal to continue further. This deal is still not going to be done by the end of this year. There's still major entities that need to express their concerns and determine whether or not that they feel that they need to implement restriction or concession. And so we still have the EU, we still have the UK, and I think the FTC also has to review this. And so many of these people won't be done with their reviews or their second reviews. I think the earliest we might find out is probably March of 2023. That's when we will finally get a, hey, this is good or not. So we'll see about that. But yeah, this is more news about this Activision Blizzard deal. I know that it gets tiring hearing about it over and over again, but this deal is one of the biggest deals in gaming history. In fact, it is the biggest deal in gaming history. And because of this, I think that it should be looked over. I think it should be talked about a lot, because this is something that is a huge deal. Regardless of what side of the fence you're on, whether you're PlayStation or whether you're Xbox, you are getting affected by this. And if this does end up causing exclusivity, that is such a detriment to a lot of this. I hate that. I hate when a company buys something and takes things away from the gamers. Like, I feel bad for everybody who were fans of Elder Scrolls and Fallout who might not be able to experience that on the PlayStation anymore. That sucks, and I hope that this doesn't translate as well to being exclusive for their potential IP. But at the end of the day, it's also business. I understand that this is what they need to do in order to make people want to buy an Xbox and to compete in this market. So with all that said, that's pretty much the news for today. Just more Activision Blizzard news, more acquisition talks. I am getting tired of it, but like I said, gotta talk about it. But with that, just a heads up, they're doing a 25th anniversary for Fallout. So if you are an owner of an Xbox Series X or S, they have this cool background. I don't know if you can't see it, but it is it's a power suit from Fallout that they have for you, just to make sure that you have it on your Xbox Series X. I am a huge Fallout fan. I love Fallout 3. I love Fallout New Vegas. I think Fallout 4 is okay. I've never played anything before Bethesda got the Fallout IP, but I love the Fallout universe. And so I'm super excited to see what they have to offer for the 25th anniversary. Don't expect too much. They have pretty much stated that they don't give two fucks about Fallout, but hopefully maybe there's some news about a Fallout remaster of some sort or collection. That would be awesome. Or just some news about the Fallout TV show that they're doing, or Fallout 5, whatever it may be. I hope there's something for this huge celebration of a great IP, and be on the lookout for some of the stuff that they're doing in Fallout 76 if you are a fan of that. Yeah, but check out the Fallout 25th anniversary. Make sure that you are getting some of that stuff that is going on. Oh yeah, so with all this Activision Blizzard news, you'd think that, okay, well, where's a good place to get all this information? Well, good thing you asked that, because Microsoft ended up making their own website dedicated to all of their quotes, all of their press releases about this, all of the discussions that they've had with other companies about this, and even other filings for this deal, all located on their website. They even have a chart here, and the chart is very broken down to try to appeal to pretty much people who are on the fence, and to try to answer any questions that any of the regulators might have without actually going and providing that to them. Mostly because, well, they don't really want to provide any information right now. I feel like if they do require them to provide information, that Microsoft will probably take them to court to just get this through without any concessions or without any restrictions. But with that, that's the end of today's video. I am spending a lot of time playing Grounded. Surprisingly, I did not expect that at all. Grounded has definitely taken a lot of my time, and it has surprised me quite a bit, and I actually might be doing a review for that. Maybe, I'm not sure, but I am really enjoying my time with it, and I do highly recommend, if you have Game Pass, to check it out. It is a fun game. I've been playing with my friend, and we've been just grinding through it. It's been a blast, and I'll probably do a video, if not a review, probably an impression video. I've also been cleaning up the achievements on the first Dead Space game. Before getting into Dead Space 2, I kind of just want to go back and finish the final achievement that I have, which is beating it on impossible difficulty. So I am currently going through my third run of the game to try and mop that up before hopping into Dead Space 2. And I think I might have to hop into Dead Space Ignition before Dead Space 2. I've never played that game. I don't think it's even a full-fledged game, but I'll look into it. So tell me what you guys have been playing. I'm definitely looking forward to the month of October, because we're having games like Plague Tale Requiem coming out. We have Gotham Knights, which looks pretty bad, but I'm a huge DC fan. I love Batman. Batman is my favorite thing in this world. So I'm even though Batman's not in it, I am a huge DC fan, so I'm gonna have to suffer through it. Hopefully it's good. But I also need to prepare for God of War Ragnarok. God of War Ragnarok is coming out in November, so looking forward to that. So I'm gonna have to play God of War for the first time. That'll be interesting. And of course, Modern Warfare is coming out later this month. So very interesting month. Very interesting upcoming weeks, and it's going to be very time consuming with games. So what are you playing? What are you looking forward to? Do you think maybe this deal is just boring? Do you not care about it? Are you done listening about it? Let me know in the comment section below. I love the comments. I love the support. And thank you for continuing to watch. And if you like what you saw and you'd like to see more, then please think about liking, commenting, and subscribing. That's all I have for you guys today. I appreciate you for stopping by, and have a good one out there. Remember, take it easy.